What's going on, New York Giants fans? Welcome back to another video. If you guys haven't already, hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or a video drops. So today was the second day of post preseason roster cutdowns. Yesterday was the 53-man cutdown. Today is the waiver wire and also practice squad formations. A lot of teams have already filled up their practice squad. There's other teams that haven't. And obviously for those waiver wire claims, you have to cut some players as well. So we'll go over that for the New York Giants. But let's go over the waiver claims first. So the New York Giants made 3 waiver claims today. They also cut 3 players, and we'll talk about that once again after this. The New York Giants claimed Pittsburgh Steelers' 6th round pick, Quincy Roche. He's a pass rusher. Was taken out of Miami this year. In the preseason, he actually didn't do bad for the Steelers. Obviously, the big star on the pass rushing side was Alex Highsmith, but Quincy Roche didn't do bad either. 5 tackles, 4 tackles for a loss, 1.5 sacks, and 2 quarterback hits in a total of 4 games played. That's regular preseason compared to what the other 30 teams had to experience, because obviously you had the Cowboys and the Steelers. They had a full preseason compared to other years, obviously, because of the preseason cutdown, and they had 4 games. That's kind of the point I'm trying to get to. But in terms of college stats, he spent 3 years at Temple, 1 at Miami. He actually was teammates with somebody who is now on the Giants practice squad. We'll get to that in a little bit. His first year at Temple, he played 11 games, racked up 31 tackles, 11.5 for a loss, 7 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery. In his sophomore year, played 12 games, racked up 57 tackles, 9 tackles for a loss, 6 sacks, 1 pass deflection, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries. You look at his third year, his junior year at Temple. He played in 12 games, racked up 49 tackles, 19 tackles for loss, 13 sacks, 5 pass deflections, a forced fumble, and 2 fumble recoveries. Then he transfers to Miami. His stats, in my opinion, kind of take a little bit of a dip because Miami is a bigger school. They are in the ACC compared to Temple, which is in a smaller conference. But with that being said, he played in 10 games for Miami, racked up 45 tackles, 14.5 for a loss. So obviously, double-digit tackles for a loss. Mostly in his college career. 4.5 sacks only. He recorded 1 pass deflection, 2 forced fumbles, and 3 fumble recoveries. So obviously, he had a better career at Temple. And in my opinion, if he was given more time at Miami rather than just his senior year, he would have been more explosive. And also to note, he probably, would have racked up more stats and his draft stock would have went up. Now, a lot of us Giant fans and content creators were saying, oh, this guy's going to go in the 3rd, 4th round. Well, a lot of teams waited on him, and the Steelers picked him up in the 6th round. So in terms of Quincy Roche, he had a nice preseason. The last time the Giants picked up a Steelers pass rusher off of the waiver wire, and it seems like every 2 years the Giants do something with the Steelers in terms of that. 2017, it was Ross Cockrell. 2019 was Tuzar Skipper, the pass rusher. This year it is Quincy Roche. So hopefully things turn out for the Giants and Roche, but I like the young addition. He has a lot to learn in this system, and I think it's going to benefit him well. Patrick Graham will know how to use him. He's very strong in the run game from what I hear, and he's got some weaknesses. He's a little bit raw, but you know what? That's most college players at the back end of the draft. So I really like that move for the Giants. The next player they got was wide receiver Colin Johnson from the Jacksonville Jaguars, who was picked in the 5th round of last year's draft. Out of Texas, he played with Sam Ehlinger. Now you take a look at his stats in the preseason. Also to note, he is 6'6". A lot of people say that, he's not too physical and that his route running is a little off. but he is a go-up-and-get-it guy. Now, obviously, a lot of Giants fans were pissed off when David Sills got cut, so hopefully Colin Johnson comes in here, and when they need him, he's the go-up-and-get-it guy. If Galladay's injured, God forbid, or Slayton's injured, or somebody's injured, he comes in and basically is the 50-50 ball guy. Now, this past preseason, he caught 2 passes for 24 yards and a touchdown. He was targeted 4 times. And then you take a look at last year in Jacksonville, he actually caught a touchdown pass and a couple other passes from Mike Glennon. The rest were, I believe, Jake Luton and Gardner Minshew. But he played in 14 games, was targeted 31 times, 18 receptions, 272 yards, 2 touchdowns, a catch percentage of 58.1, and no drops. So, obviously, good for Colin Johnson. Was a late-round pick or mid-round pick to some people. And, could be a good addition for the Giants in terms of depth. It's not going to be, well, he's going to start week 1. No, that's not what's going to happen. But if any of the other guys get injured, he's there. Now, I don't know his special teams value. I'm not sure that he has a lot of it, to be honest with you. But, we still have yet to learn a lot about these other guys. So the third guy they picked up on the waiver wire is linebacker Justin Hilliard from the 49ers. Now, looking at his college stats, it seems like he played mostly special teams or was very rotational because I don't see a lot of tackles. I don't see a lot of sacks, doing whatever. So maybe he was a rotational guy in Ohio State's system, and, maybe he was mostly special teams. But this preseason, if I'm not mistaken, he was one of, if not the leading tackler for the 49ers, had 16 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and a quarterback hit. So he played decently this preseason for the 49ers, undrafted free agent out of Ohio State, as I mentioned. He redshirted his first year at Ohio State. His second year, 2016, he recorded a total of 4 tackles in just 1 game. In his sophomore season, 2017, at Ohio State, he played a total of 11 games, recorded 14 tackles, not much else. You take a look at his junior season. In 2018, he was appearing in 8 games, had 1 tackle for loss, and recorded 20 tackles. You take a look at 2019, played in 10 games, recorded a total of 13 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and 1 interception. You take a look at 2020, he played in 6 games, recorded a total of 33 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, and 1 interception as well, 1 forced fumble, a fumble recovery, actually 3 of them, and 1 pass deflection. So, I honestly don't know what to think of this guy. It seems like he's mostly a special teams guy, and then casually, or I should say occasionally explosive. Going back to what I'm seeing with Ohio State, I don't know much about him. I'm not going to scramble to find something. I'll probably ask some 49ers fans, some Buckeyes fans. But it seems like he's mostly a special teams guy. That's what Joe Judge likes, and he's a depth guy. So we'll see what happens with him and the New York Giants. But very good pickups by Joe Judge, Dave Gettleman, and the front office. I have to say that. Next up, the Giants cut the following players. One is going to be signed likely tomorrow or the next day, so he'll be on the roster. But C.J. Board is that player. They cut him. This preseason, he had 2 receptions, 20 yards, 4 targets, 2 punt returns for 31 yards, and 2 kick returns for 49 yards. He had a very big kick return in the Patriots game. I think it was 29 yards, so maybe I missed something there. He also muffed a punt in the Browns game, so obviously that tested Joe Judge's waters on their loyalty to him, or basically what I'm trying to say is that muff punt scared a couple of people in terms of, well, C.J. Board may not make the roster now. So, the second player they cut is Dante Pettis. A lot of people did not expect him to make the final 53. He made the initial 53. Then he got cut today. 11 targets, 4 receptions, 33 yards in the preseason. Obviously caught a touchdown pass from Daniel Jones in the Cowboys game last year. He had some value on special teams as a kick returner. And, he didn't really get many first team reps in the preseason other than the third game. He flashed late, but it was too late for the Giants to reconsider their options. The next guy comes with the Quincy Roche claim, meaning somebody from that outside linebacker room had to be gone. That player being Trent Harris, who had a good preseason other than maybe the Patriots game, and he did have a sack that game, but I didn't really notice anything else about Harris that game other than the one sack he did record. But in this preseason, and obviously the stats, they tell one story, they don't tell the whole story, and he was setting the edge in the run game in the second game, unlike O'Shane Ximines and some of the other linebackers. But to finally get to the stats, 9 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, a quarterback hit, and a sack. So hope he gets claimed by somebody, but if he can make it back to the practice squad, that would be really good for the Giants. Maybe call him up on game day, see what happens from there. But, he had a great preseason. Let's see where he goes. And if he doesn't get claimed, and no Giants have been claimed so far on the waiver wire, obviously that can change. But if he does get claimed, we'll see where he goes. If he doesn't get claimed, hopefully he resigns the practice squad because the Giants actually do have some spots open. With that being said, let's go to the practice squad. Tight end Ryan Izzo was signed by the New York Giants to the practice squad. He spent 2019 and 2020 in New England. His first year in New England, he was targeted a total of 9 times in 4 games started, and also he played in 6 games, 6 receptions, 114 yards, 1 touchdown, a catch percentage of 66.7. And then you take a look at his 2020 season. He played in a total of 12 games, started all those 12 games because of the Patriots' tight end troubles, was targeted 20 times, caught 13 passes for 199 yards, no touchdowns, a pass catching percentage of 65. So I guess what we can assume for right now, this could be said for Nakia Griffin-Stewart and Jake Hausman too, but with Izzo and the other tight ends, we don't know the certainty of Evan Ingram's injury. We don't know the extent or how severe it is. So what they could do on game day is make Evan Ingram inactive. If he is inactive, if his injury is severe enough that he does miss week 1, they can make him inactive and then protect one of these tight ends from the practice squad. They make it onto the roster. I think it's the day before game day, and then they make it on the roster, and then they play as the third tight end with Kyle Rudolph and Caden Smith starting at the 2 tight end position. And then obviously, once again, number 3 being Griffin-Stewart, Hausman, or Ryan Izzo. The Giants re-signed David Sills to the practice squad. He didn't go to anybody in the waiver wire, which honestly shocked me a little bit, but his preseason performance against the Patriots wasn't really much to talk about. Obviously, in camp, a lot of people were for him making the roster. I root for everybody, but he disappeared with the second team offense in the Patriots game, which isn't good by any means. David Moa made the practice squad, went unclaimed. He had a very quiet but productive preseason. Didn't really get any first team reps, was mostly with the second team, but he was penetrating. He even got half a sack. He forced 2 fumbles. So potential defensive line depth there as his partner in crime or his teammate, as you want to call it, Raymond Johnson, he did make the roster. Offensive lineman Brett Hedgie, he was probably one of the bright spots for the New York Giants in terms of their second team offensive line. He played center and guard. Nakia Griffin-Stewart and Jake Hausman, I mentioned already. You take a look at Kenny Wiggins. Obviously didn't play well in the preseason, but the Giants have a thing for him. As I predicted he would make the 53-man roster. Obviously, they brought him back and found better O-line depth to put on their roster. They have him on the practice squad now. Wide receiver and cornerback Matt Cole, special teams guy as well. So obviously the versatility makes him a Joe Judge guy, and he now lands on the practice squad going unclaimed. The Giants also re-signed Damian Willis, who had 2 touchdowns in the preseason, one from Mike Lennon, one from Clayton Torson, and they also re-signed Nico Lalos, who obviously had a quiet camp last year, came on to the scene for the New York Giants, and they also did sign 2 other players from outside teams, Tight end Chris Myrick, who went to Temple, by the way, was a teammate of Quincy Roche for a couple of years. Played in 3 games for Miami last year. 8 snaps on offense, 7 snaps on special teams, and in the preseason caught 3 passes for 54 yards and a touchdown. That's about 18 yards per pass. So obviously he's kind of that third tight end if he does make an NFL roster. And then somebody who I remember from the Notre Dame days, because I am a Notre Dame fan, I'm a college football fan, at least I would consider myself, is running back Dexter Williams. Obviously that is running back depth. They didn't get any other running backs from any other team. Corey Clement actually went to the Cowboys. They didn't sign any other running backs. Sandro Platzkummer's gone. So right now it's Dexter Williams on the practice squad. He spent some time with the Green Bay Packers in the last 2 years, I want to say. Did okay for them, but now he is with the New York Giants. So that's pretty much it, guys, in this video. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you know when live stream pops video drops. Definitely a big NFL preview next week on the Boys and McApple podcast. Be sure to join in, give your thoughts, 8:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Even if you're an opposing fan, give your thoughts. I don't care. Talk your trash. As long as it's not too inappropriate, we'll take it as a joke. We'll joke with you, whatever. It's really fun. Peace out, guys. See you later. Go Giants and go Yankees. All right, New York Giants fans. So quick update at the end of the video. As I was recording the first part of the video, this set of news came out, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to make it into another part of the video. Just include it as a part of the first one. So the Giants added the following players to the practice squad. They finished the practice squad as a whole, forming it, whatever. They added defensive lineman Willie Henry, defensive back Jordan Peters, offensive tackle Jackson Barton, and offensive lineman Jake Burton, as well as running back Sandro Platzkummer. So it does count to 17 practice squad members, but because Sandro Platzkummer is a part of the NFL's International Pathway program, he gets an exemption from a roster spot, meaning if, let's just say, the Giants wanted to sign him onto the roster, they'd have 54 players, but they would really have 53 because of his exemption. So the practice squad in total does look like this: Ryan Izzo, David Sills, David Moa, Brett Hedgie, Nakia Griffin-Stewart, Jake Hausman, Dexter Williams, Matt Cole, Kenny Wiggins, Chris Myrick, Damian Willis, Nico Lalos, Jake Burton, Jackson Barton, Willie Henry, Jordan Peters, and Sandro Platzkummer. In terms of the roster, a big update: John Ross has been put on injured reserve with hamstring injury. Ellerson Smith has also been put on injured reserve with an injury as well. They'll be missing the first 3 weeks of the season, and obviously you can make 2 roster moves with those 2 players going to IR. The Giants have re-signed long snapper Casey Kreider, and they've also re-signed wide receiver, kick returner, CJ Board. So pretty much that's your update. Peace out, guys. See you later. Stay cool.